Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's me again, Jen. Hello! And we are reading today on Wednesday, August 26th. And we have the Journey into the Hidden Realms Tarot, which we've very much been reading from this entire month of August. It is a Barbara Moore deck. The art is beautifully done by Julia Jeffrey. And this deck was graciously lent to me by my friend Topaz. And I will say, I'm going to regret a little bit giving it back because it's so beautiful. But I'll be happy to know that she's going to do some amazing readings with it. I know she will. And this deck has inspired me to get back into some of the research, I guess you could say, delving into the fae stuff and some of the more earthy things that I really kind of have not forgotten, but not stuck around with in quite some time because there's other things in the world to study. So I've kind of increased my study a little bit on the more earthy magics, shall we say. And it's been fun. It's been interesting to kind of look at those kinds of things. So without further ado, let's see what card we have for this Wednesday. Oh, okay. I love when this card comes up because it is to me kind of I'm not showing it to you yet. It's kind of the essence of whatever tarot deck it is. And I say this just from my opinion of it, not anybody else's or any sort of energy around things none of that. But it is a major arcana card. It is not the Fool, although I will say the Fool kind of represents the story that the tarot deck is going to tell. It's this card that represents its essence. And the essence of the World card in the Hidden Realms is a very green goddess looking character. And she is surrounded by butterflies, and she is herself very earthy. It's so interesting that I said, oh, earthy. So, yes, I am going to say that while this is, obviously the world, the earth is something that would be represented by earth, but she is that forest spirit, that forest energy that I think we've kind of been trying to get to in this whole hidden realm sort of thing. Yes, it's about the fairies of the air and the fairies of fire and all those kinds of things, but really all of them are earthbound. They are terrestrial spirits. So when you have terrestrial spirits, I think of Gaia, Terra, the Earth Mother, and this character is so very earthy. Everything about her, she's got these beautiful, I'm going to bring my camera down a little because there's like a glare. So she's got this lovely earthy tendrilled hair going on. It kind of almost looks like seaweed, but it might just be vines, that kind of thing. We have the air kind of represented with the butterflies, but they begin on the earth. They begin as caterpillars, most like super close to the earth. So if you think of them as kind of that transformation, that essence of that sort of story, the butterflies are still earth. And she is green. She's very green. This whole card is super green. Very, very green. So in fact, the butterflies are the only things that are not completely green, and they're still kind of a very pale greenish white color. The other thing that I'm not sure carries on the screen or not is that she's kind of got this spiral labyrinth sort of tattoo on her heart chakra right here. So that is returning to the earth, returning to the womb, returning to the mother with the heart. And heart chakra is green. I mean, she's just all about that verdance and all about the abundance that is the world. So typically the world card is to represent a culmination of something. It's that completion of a cycle. And I do think that in a lot of ways, as we head towards autumn, as we reach towards, you know, the end of August, the beginning of September, We are winding into that fall phase of things. We're winding into let's finish summer, let's close this off, and where I am, please let's finish summer, let's finish it fast, it's hot. But she represents that going into the fall or going into a spring, it's finishing a cycle is really what the world represents, for good or bad, because really the tarot isn't about things being good or bad. They're about learning the lessons. If you learned your lessons through the journey of the major arcana or through the journey that you went through in the suit that you are kind of embodying through whatever trials you're going through, if you learn those lessons, you will in turn kind of level up. But the spiral, and again, we go back to the spiral continues. You don't just stop learning, you don't just stop being a creature of some kind. You cycle and you become something new. So the world is really about a spiral, not about a circle. So, okay, I'm going to mention something kind of weird, out of the ordinary. Recently, we've discovered that, like, the universe itself, our solar system doesn't just travel in a circle, it's moving forward in that circle. So it's like corkscrewing through the vast and expanding universe. Think of the world in that way. It's not just turning in a two-dimensional circuit of you start here, you go through the trials, you end back here where you started. Because it's not what happens. You start here, but then as you go through the trials, even if you come back to exactly where you started, you are not the same. So you do not stand with the same feet in the same place, if that makes any sense at all. So, like, even if you come home, you have brought with you all of these experiences and all of these things that have happened to you. So even if you go back to your job day after day after day, every day is kind of different in its own way because you learned something yesterday, hopefully, and you brought that to today. And you did something yesterday, hopefully, that produced and has made it easier or carried on with a task that you are doing, and in some way is the betterment of yourself as well as your work, as well as your ideas, as well as who you are, as well as the world around you. In some way, you've made it better. So I like to look at the world card not as a circle so much, because again, like, I guess the Wheel of Fortune card can be kind of a two-dimensional circle, but even that has kind of a 3 dimensions to it. This one definitely does. Everything is always turning. And while this may be the end of one story, it's really the beginning of another. I think about the lyrics in that song, every ending is some other beginning's end, some other, I don't know. Anyway, you know it. I've got it stuck in your head now because I screwed it up. Did it on purpose. No, I didn't. Anyway, so the world card is that finishing of a cycle. And it's kind of appropriate, I think, to happen at the end of a month because here we are kind of closing out the month, closing out our wonderful journey into the hidden realms with only a few cards left. And I think in some ways we have gone on a very interesting journey with this deck, and it has brought me to a new space. At the same time, this is the start of a new cycle. And I will say that this deck has caused me to kind of go back and look at some of the old cycles I've been on with a new eye and with new experiences and new lessons and a new purpose. So I've started over, but at the same time, I've completed something. And I hope that you are too. I hope that this card really represents that cycle. As always, if you are interested in any of the crazy stuff that I do, check out the playlist, check out the tarot playlist, and see where we've been all month with this deck. And always go back. You can always check it out and say, oh, compared to this one to that one, and this world card, we did the Saki Saki tarot deck world card too. So check that one out compared to this one. And I think you're going to notice some interesting similarities as well as some interesting differences. So also, feel free to leave a comment below on some of the cycles that you may be completing or some of the things that you want to carry on with in the next month. Thank you so much for watching this. It's really kind of been a pleasure for me as well. And I hope to continue throughout the year and who knows, into ad infinitum to see what interesting things I come up with the tarot. So thank you. And as always, stay cool, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.